Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make cakey brownies. So first, put your sieve over your bowl and we're going to start with the dry ingredients. So first up is a 1/4 cup of plain flour, or all-purpose flour, whatever you like to call it. So a 1/4 cup of that in. Then we're going to go in with 1/8 teaspoon of baking powder. Our third dry ingredient is 1.5 tablespoons of cocoa powder. This is what makes them chocolatey. This brownie doesn't have any chocolate in it, which is really convenient for a lot of people because not everyone has chocolate on hand. I do prefer chocolate brownies, but these cocoa brownies are also pretty good. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lift off the sieve obviously and just tap the side of the sieve or use a spoon to stir through all the ingredients until we have a nice mound of dry ingredients all mixed together. I like doing it this way because it kind of mixes the ingredients together partially for you already. Not that it's a big deal to mix dry ingredients together, but it's just a little bit two things in one go. So now that all the dry ingredients are out, I'm just going to push through any lumps of cocoa that there might be, because cocoa is that one lumpy ingredient that's the really need sifting one. Now I'm going in with a 1/4 cup of sugar. Brownies have a lot of sugar, keep this in mind. It's the same amount of sugar as flour in a lot of recipes, and the same with this one. And then in goes an 1/8 teaspoon of salt. And now I'm just going to give all my dry ingredients a good stir. Now for the wet ingredients, they did suggest in the recipe I was following to use some vanilla. Vanilla just adds extra flavour, it's just really nice. Use about 1/8 teaspoon or just a nice splash of vanilla, but I didn't have any, I hadn't gone to the shops yet, so I just used all the essential ones like the oil and the water. I found it interesting that they didn't use any eggs or any milk, they just used water. It is like a vegan recipe, so obviously you can't use eggs or milk. I mean, you could use almond milk and stuff. Anyway, 2 tablespoons of oil and 2 tablespoons of water, and then we'll mix it together, and pretty much our batter is going to be done. So that's a pretty small amount of ingredients. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 ingredients, and 8 if you add in the vanilla. So just pour it all in, and then using a spatula we're going to fold it till it's just combined. So yeah, the reason you don't want to overmix it is because for a lot of things like muffins, scones and brownies also, you don't want to overmix it. So you can mix it a bit using your spatula, but obviously just keep it minimal. Nothing goes disastrous if you mix it a bit too much, but you know, just on the wary side. So you can see how like fudgy this looks. This almost looks like the raw parts of the brownie after you take it out of the oven. Though obviously I did accidentally I did cook mine a little bit longer, so they weren't quite this gooey. Now moving on, once you've got that down, we're going to, in a minute, not quite yet, I'm just showing some more footage of this gorgeous batter, we're going to make our pan. Now obviously you have a small pan for, like, this is a 2-serve brownie if you want 2 big brownies, or a 4-serve for 4 small brownies. But it's a small batter, which means it needs a small pan, and I didn't have a small pan, so what I did is I got some aluminium foil, and then I tore up a piece, a decent sized piece, bigger than I wanted, because then I folded it up a bit just to make it smaller and make it have a little bit more structure so it could hold itself together in my oven. I do all my mini food in a small oven, so I need mini trays and stuff to fit in there as well, and I don't have them, so I have to make them. But if you guys do see anywhere I can purchase mini stuff, it would be like really appreciated if you could like just put the link below in the comments and I might have a look at them. Okay, so then I push it into a plastic container. Now obviously you can't put plastic in the oven of any kind, or can you put foil in the microwave, so obviously I'm not using them together. I'm just using a plastic as a mold, so push it all the way in, down the sides, and push in the corners. Okay, push it deep into the corners. Obviously it might tear easily, as you can see I did tear it, but I just folded it over so that there'll be no leaking, and it was already too tall, so folding down the sides just makes it a better height. So go ahead, fold them down, it gives them structure, it gives them the right amount of height. I like this method because as long as you have a container around the size you want, you can really just play around with it from there. I have in other videos, I don't think I've posted them yet, but I'm working on them, used no container to make a mold. Obviously it looks very messy, but it does the job and it works amazing. Okay, moving on, I'm going to grease this just a little bit because even though I will put in paper and then grease it again just to make sure nothing catches, because I do not want foil in my brownies. Now, getting some greaseproof paper, tear off the peel, fold it so it's the same width, and then put it in. Now it doesn't have to be the same length, it just has to be the same width, so it folds in and it has bits sticking out so we can easily lift the brownie out once it's done. So it takes me a bit of time to work it out because I always overestimate how big the pan is and always have to refold it, so just bear with me. I finally got it to fit in, but obviously I did leave a bit too much space on the outside. So after I greased it with some spray olive oil, obviously olive oil does have flavour, so you can use any other oil that is flavourless, it'll be a good idea. I just used some scissors and chopped off a little bit of that excess just to get out of the way. And then I went in with my brownie batter and just scooped it right into the pan. You can tell there's a decent amount of fat in this, even though it's only 2 tablespoons because it's not really sticking to the bowl. For fudgy brownies, of course, more fat is what you want, not necessarily more sugar, which is interesting. So if you want fudgy brownies, more fat is preferable. These are kind of like a mix between cakey and fudgy. I think I cooked them a little bit more, so that they were more cakey. I do prefer fudgy brownies though, so I think I should have just stuck with the ones, because even though if it seems uncooked, after sitting on the counter for a while, it will kind of solidify, like kind of make it gooey. And anyway, so I popped in the oven. Medium high heat and cooked it for, I don't know, like 5 minutes. Just cooked until I put it in a toothpick or a skewer, whatever you want. Toothpicks work better, but I didn't have one on hand. Poke it in and you should see some slightly gooey crumbs come out. If you're not getting that, if you're getting no crumbs at all, then it means you're probably overcooked it, and if you're getting liquid batter, then obviously cook it a little bit more. Okay, so once that was done, I turned off the oven, or in this case, the oven just turns off by itself when it runs out of time. It's kind of like a timer-based oven, and you have to keep turning on if it's not ready. I got out my cheese slicer, which makes like a good spoon thinger, and just popped it in. Now, if this is a toaster, never put metal in the toaster, but for an oven, metal in the oven is literally already in there. Okay. This is my brownie. It looks amazing. So now we're going to let it sit for a while and just make sure you're poking it back here by poking it in a few other places. And after it's sat and cooled a bit, we're going to carefully lift it out. Now, if you're having trouble lifting, you might need to pull away the sides a little bit. I did have a little bit of issue. I don't think I sprayed the oil enough. Possibly could have used more baking paper. I don't know. So I just pulled the foil off, which is another good reason for having foil, because foil just doesn't it's not like solid. You can just pull it off and see, ta-da, tray's gone. In fact, I threw that tray in the bin after that because obviously I can't reuse it. I don't normally reuse my full trays anyway. And so you can see it's still nice and soft. It was a little bit on the cakey side for me. I do like really fudgy brownies. So if I come out with a fudgy brownie recipe, I will also post it. These are kind of like a half in between, but I sold it as a cakey brownie because I didn't want to lie, because it's not that fudgy. And I just cut off a bit to see what it looked like on the inside. So this is what it looks like. Okay. Now, with some icing sugar, I like to use, you can use a sieve for this because it's so small. I just went in there with a little tea leaf holder infuser thinger. They make really good sieves. They're literally like a mini sieve with a lid on top. And I just kind of like hit it. So the icing sugar was all over it. Of course, you use your hands, you can sprinkle. You can't even omit this, but I think it's really pretty. It gives them the traditional brownie look. Now, using a large knife or a small knife, you know what? I don't know why I'm specifying this, because honestly, you can do whatever you want. Cut it and serve it straight away, or you can store it for about, I don't know, a few days. They never last that long in my house, especially a brownie this small. I end up eating all by myself sometimes. And then, so as you can see, it is quite cakey, and I didn't leave it long enough, so it is quite soft. I was having a bit of issue cutting it up, but the footage I didn't take, didn't include in the video. I did actually cut up that long big piece in the back, and it was actually so much easier when it had cooled a bit more. So yeah, let it cool. Anyway, thanks so much guys for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and comment down below.